this is looking to be a very explosive fight. One that you definitely don't want to miss out on.
So what would the result be?
The prediction is will not last 12 rounds, I think.
Some nice ones, thank you.
He's a legend. I think he can do it. Absolutely.
At the fiery first press conference for his next bout, boxing legend Manny Pacquiao sent shockwaves through the room with a chilling declaration aimed squarely at his opponent,
Mario Barrios,
the 8-division world champion. Known for his explosive speed and unshakable humility, shed his usual calm demeanor and stepped into the spotlight with a fierce warning. As cameras flashed and tension mounted, Pacquiao made it clear that this fight isn't just business, it's personal. It's the tone is set, and if Barrios thought he was facing a faded icon, Pacquiao's intensity just proved otherwise.
Okay, how's it going?
All right, good. Everything's good.
All right, so
Weekend. Good, man.
for a long time we talked about Manny Pacquiao coming back, Dustin. For a long time we talked about him fighting. Now it's real, it's happening. Him and Mario Barrios, break it down.
Yeah, Barrios is champion, so it's a good fight.
WBC champion.
Don't count Pacquiao. Everyone's counting Pacquiao out because of his age. It's like a bunch of haters, man. He still has tons of power, tons of speed, and a shitload of experience.
If Manny wins, would it shock you or no?
No.
But it would shock the whole world.
It would shock the world, but he wins at his age, yeah, but it's not. Listen, he's 45, 46.
Are you leaving jail?
45, 46, but he's not. He's always active. He's always staying active. He's always doing something. Mostly playing basketball, some sort of sport, something cardio. So no, not really.
When Nate Diaz beat Conor McGregor, he said, "I'm not surprised." So Manny could say that after he beats Barrios, that he wasn't surprised that he's supposed to win.
Well, DSP. I mean, different DS. I like DS.
Manny Pacquiao's return to the boxing ring after a 4-year hiatus has generated major buzz, especially after his intense press conference where he issued a stern warning to WBC welterweight champion Mario Barrios. The 46-year-old boxing legend, known for his speed and power, is set to challenge the 29-year-old Barrios on July 19, 2025, at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas.
It's a very contentious subject, people moaning about Manny Pacquiao. I think Manny Pacquiao is still good enough to beat most fighters in the top 20 at 147 pounds. He's clearly not the fighter that he once was. You're not going to be at that age. My problem is that he's been inactive for quite a long time. Like we were talking about fighting him with Conor Benn maybe 6 months ago or a year, and every month or 3 months or 6 months that passes, you do become a lot older. So I guess there's two questions. One is, should he be fighting again? And at the end of the day, if he's good enough to beat everybody outside of the top 20 in the world, then why not? But should he be fighting for the world title? I guess that's another question. In the commercial world of boxing, the answer is yeah, probably. In the ratings world and activity world, the answer is probably not.
Do you think it's strange that he's coming off the couch and getting a title fight like that?
I think when you've achieved what he's achieved, you've always got the right to do things a little bit differently to others, and with all due respect, Barrios is not Boots and Barrios is not Crawford, and that's why we pushed the Conor Benn fight. Conor Benn, his best win is against Algieri or Van Heerden, so actually Pacquiao is a step up, and people were still complaining at me for mentioning that fight like Conor Benn is Boots, but he still hasn't had those wins yet.
Pacquiao has resumed training under the guidance of his longtime coach, Freddie Roach. Despite concerns about his age and time away from professional boxing, Pacquiao has shown glimpses of his former self in training sessions. However, some fans and experts remain skeptical about his ability to compete at the highest level after such a long layoff. Recent footage from Los Angeles captures Pacquiao speaking with the calm resolve of someone ready to face any challenge. He discussed the burden of being a role model and the importance of learning from past defeats. His tone was serious but positive, and physically he appeared alert and ready. The training sessions show him hitting pads with speed, moving fluidly, and preparing for his showdown with Barrios with all the intensity of a younger fighter hungry for redemption. However, the decision to sanction the fight has not been without controversy. Critics argue that Pacquiao's age and recent inactivity should have precluded him from a title shot. The WBC's ranking of Pacquiao at number 5 in the welterweight division has also raised eyebrows, with some questioning the legitimacy of the ranking and the potential risks involved in the matchup.
I'm hearing things here. Manny Pacquiao aiming for a shock return to the ring, age 46, Josh.
Yeah, I read something about that, man. It's, that guy's my hero, you know, I named my dog after him and stuff like that, you know, so, but he's touching 50 years old. I think, you know, he should leave it where it is, you know, but, you know, obviously, if you get a chance to share a ring with Manny Pacquiao, nobody's going to say no, you know.
Trainer Greg Hackett didn't mince words when sharing his thoughts on Manny Pacquiao's unexpected comeback bout against Mario Barrios. Speaking bluntly, Hackett noted that had this fight taken place years ago, Pacquiao would have made quick work of Barrios. However, times have changed. According to Hackett, the current version of Pacquiao is a far cry from the explosive, dynamic fighter who once dominated the sport. Now at 45, the Filipino icon can't be expected to showcase the same speed, stamina, or ruthless edge that made him a legend. Hackett described the fight as more of a money grab than a genuine contest between elite athletes in their prime. In his view, it's a spectacle, not a clash of equals.
Hit a lick, I mean, but Pacquiao not Pacquiao no more. It's tough to go against him in this situation because if it was some years ago, Pacquiao would beat Barrios. But right now, Barrios, with his momentum, might run and beat Pacquiao up. I mean, not knock him out, but, you know what I mean, beat him on the cards, beat him behind that jab.
Similar to like Ugas, the Ugas fight?
Yeah, like on. Yeah. It's a good fight, but it's more of a good fight for Barrios. Pacquiao don't need it, but Pacquiao want to come back, and he want to come back with a bang, so, I mean, why not? If he can make it happen, make it happen. Because I would love, if Barrios was my fighter, I would love to have a Pacquiao on the record. I mean, I would love something like that. And that's a fight you know you got to get ready for.
It's a fight that boxing fans want to criticize you for.
Yeah.
But the reality is Manny Pacquiao has a die-hard fan base that you're going to make money with that fight.
Yeah.
But everybody wants to see other fights at 47. You Stanionis, you Boobs, you Brian Norman.
Yeah, but he want to steal as much as he can steal. You know what I mean? Because again, this shit is not forever. Just like anything else, it's going to end. So you want to make some money and you want to do great things.
Former champion Tim Bradley echoed similar concerns, suggesting that the fight is more about financial motives than boxing glory. According to Bradley, anytime a fighter comes out of retirement, it signals a need for a payday. WBC title may be on the line, but the real motivation is the purse. Barrios, a younger and active contender, is being positioned as the fresh face to test Pacquiao's limits. Bradley went as far as to say that Barrios has the youth momentum and skill to possibly finish Pacquiao, raising questions about whether the legend should be in the ring at all.
Pacquiao getting back in the ring again for a world title fight.
Well, obviously, you know, it has to be pertaining to any kind of money. You know, it has to be financial. I mean, any fighter that comes back, especially from retirement, a guy like Manny Pacquiao, it definitely has to do with money. One. Two, I think Manny Pacquiao, I think his C game is a lot better than anybody, a lot of guys' A game, even with the age. But you have to take into account the last time he stepped foot in that ring, man, against Ugas. You know, he didn't look good. He was outmatched by, you know, a fighter, a younger fighter. Barrios is no slouch. Barrios is a young fighter, you know, bigger fighter, knows how to, you know, control distance very well, can punch a little bit. Like, he's no easy task for anybody in the welterweight division. And for Manny to come back after this long and to face a young guy like that is dangerous. And sometimes, you know, these old legends, they got to get beat up several times before they call it quits. You know, that Ugas fight, I don't know if it was enough for Pacquiao. That's why he's coming back. But Barrios, he can he can finish Pacquiao. There's a possibility that he can finish Pacquiao and basically cause him to go back into retirement once again. But again, what they say, the last thing that leaves is the power. If Manny got any of that power still left in him, if he lands that left hand, he can hurt the young gun. So, but that's easier said than done.
On the other hand, Oscar De La Hoya has voiced his support for Manny Pacquiao's return to the ring, expressing confidence in the legendary fighter despite his age. While acknowledging that Pacquiao is now in his mid-40s, De La Hoya believes the Filipino icon still has the heart, determination, and skill to stand toe-to-toe with younger opponents like Mario Barrios. He commends Pacquiao's storied career and insists that a fighter with such vast experience should never be underestimated. For De La Hoya, the focus isn't on AGITs, on what Pacquiao still has left to offer.
I wish him all the best.
Quadra, I love him. Can he do it? Quadra?
Can he do it? Absolutely. Manny Pacquiao's
Oscar needs.
He's a legend, you know.
Some nice ones, thank you.
He's a legend. I think he can do it. Absolutely. I mean, it's not going to be easy, but I think he can do it. Yeah.
Despite the skepticism, Mario Barrios remains calm and confident. Speaking ahead of the fight, Barrios made it clear he respects Pacquiao, but isn't intimidated. He plans to stick to his game plan and use his youth and reach advantage to keep the pressure on. Barrios isn't approaching this as just a payday. He sees it as the biggest opportunity of his career and a chance to add Pacquiao's name to his resume.
When you see the Manny Pacquiao fight, what can you learn from that fight?
You know, it showed that, combination punchers, that's how Pacquiao, was landing, his punches, combinations. And, it just showed you that, he is a great fighter, but, I'm going into this camp, coming into this fight confident, everything right with our game plan. And I'm going to try to execute it as best as I can.
Boxing analyst Teddy Atlas has expressed skepticism regarding Mario Barrios' perceived size advantage in his bout against Manny Pacquiao. While Barrios stands taller and boasts a longer reach, Atlas questions the authenticity of this edge. Noting that Barrios transitioned to the welterweight division after previously competing at lower weight classes, Barrios himself acknowledged that making the 140 pounds limit had become increasingly challenging, prompting his move to welterweight. Despite his physical attributes, Atlas suggests that Barrios' size may not translate into a significant advantage in the ring. This perspective implies that the matchup could be more evenly balanced than some anticipate, potentially offering a more competitive contest between the seasoned Pacquiao and the younger Barrios. The announcement of Pacquiao's return sent shockwaves through the boxing world. Many fans are still processing the news, as Pacquiao retired in 2021 and has remained inactive since.
Not naturally as big a man as those other welterweights. So start there. That's a fair point. He moved up in weight, Barrios. So he's not a naturally big, natural welterweight. And of course we understand Pacquiao has moved up. My God, I don't even know when he first turned pro. You would have thought maybe he could have been a jockey.
Yeah,
I mean he was
108 pounds, right?
Yeah, jockeys are about 105 pounds, I think, somewhere around that neighborhood. I mean, can you imagine him though going to the whip? He might have killed the horse. That's the only thing. Yeah, you would have had Petter. What is it called? Peter, whatever. Peter. You would have had Peter coming after you. Look what he did to this horse. But look, I love Pacquiao. One of my favorite people. One of my favorite fighters in the whole world. He's moved up from incredible weight. People forget about that. That's why I brought it up. How many weight classes this man has really moved up. Incredible. Just incredible. But now, yeah, Barrios wouldn't be as big as those other guys, but he's still a guy that's confident. He's a guy that's a world champion. He's a guy who throws a lot of punches. He's a guy who's younger, who's active, you know, who I know you can't go by this guy beat this guy, but he could beat that guy, but he could beat this guy, but you can't go by that in my business, in this business, because styles make fights. But you're right. He beat Ugas. You could say Ugas was a little older than when he fought him a little bit, than when Pacquiao fought him. Maybe that made a difference, whatever. But he did take a lot of punishment, Pacquiao, in the Ugas fight.